Hi, I'm Irving, and I'm an Adamaniac. Last time we got the Riddler confused with the Joker and learned that a joke and a riddle are not the same thing. Oh wait, that wasn't the most important part. The Riddler kidnapped a visiting king to draw Batman and Robin to their doom on a couple of huge drive shafts that are going to centrifugal force them into a zillion pieces. How are they going to get out of this one? Happily, Batman is on good terms with the convenience fairy, and suddenly he has no trouble getting out of the restraints. This convenience fairy is a good friend to have. I'm going to have to get to know him. Her. I'm going to have to get to know this individual. Batman discovers that Robin is already dead. Overcome by grief and fury, he goes on a rampage such as the city has never seen. He tracks down the Riddler and murders him in a most gruesome fashion, then spends the rest of his days in a prison for the criminally insane. Early on, they had to move him to a room without a window, because every time he saw a Robin, he started shrieking and trying to fly around the room.
What happened?
Well, they dragged us down here. Some of that web-like material tore away from my hand and waist. I just barely managed to get the cutting torch out of my utility belt.
You burned the armature and short-circuited the power. Golly, Batman. The utility belt saves us again.
No, I'm pretty sure it was the convenience fairy, however it happened. The utility belt was just the tool they used. So the laser beam came to the rescue one more time.
Now, old friend, it's time to get back on the Riddler's trail.
They try to run off and discover they're still dizzy and they both fall on their faces. As if. Batman and Robin have cast iron inner ears. Just go with it. In the Riddler's hideout under Gotham City, he's gloating with his gang, known as the River Rats, and his requisite bimbo, Mousy.
I'm a man of few words, but a man of many riddles. So riddle me this. What is it that is always coming but never arrives? Quickly, quickly.
We ain't tuned in on the riddle bit, Chief.
Yeah! We give up. What is it that is always coming but never arrives?
Gee, I wonder why he calls her Mousy.
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
Tomorrow. But when it arrives, it is today. And today, my dear rodents, should prove to be most memorable.
Frank Gorshin, ladies and gentlemen and everybody else. If that look doesn't give you nightmares, it should. I can't say enough about his performances in this whole series. At police headquarters, Gordon and the rest of his Keystone cops have just finished debriefing the king about the demise of Batman and Robin.
They're alive! Batman, are you all right?
Yes, Commissioner, we had a nasty turn, but we came out of it all right.
You'd think we'd learn to expect lines like that by now. We cut to a museum at the top of the Queen of Freedom Monument where King Boris is about to present Gotham with a gift of friendship, a gold and jewel-encrusted miniature replica of the monument. We saw the Riddler give it back to the king right before he turned him loose, but I'm sure that was just the Riddler being polite. I doubt it means anything. The presentation goes off without a hitch and the TV guy finds himself with some time to fill. So he starts showing some of the other stuff in the museum.
Back here, I think you can see a bust of Gotham City's first mayor. And, of course, how could our Museum of Fame exist without Batman and Robin?
I think they're cute.
She just can't resist a guy in support stockings. The Riddler's plot unfolds. He demands $1 million ransom from the city or he'll blow up the monument. Gordon calls Batman and fills him in. Batman says, pay the ransom. Gordon says, where can I get that kind of money? Batman subtly tells Gordon to call his good friend Bruce Wayne and ask for it. Gordon calls Bruce Wayne, but Batman forgets to hang up the bat phone. Gordon hears both conversations. He figures it out and Batman is exposed. But not in this world. Bruce takes the money to Gordon.
I just want to do my duty as a proud citizen of this fair community.
Batman? What the devil? It's Batman!
Sorry, Commissioner. I used the bat rope to get up here because I didn't want to be noticed. I'm sure the Riddler has notified you that Robin and I were dead.
Yes.
They apparently didn't notice that suddenly his cowl doesn't fit right, and he also has a slight Irish accent.
Good. And I want him to keep thinking that.
But Batman, we discussed the
I
possibility...
never had the pleasure of meeting Batman, Commissioner.
Oh, I'm sorry. Batman, this is my good friend, Bruce Wayne.
Ah, the millionaire socialite. I've always wanted to meet you, Mr. Wayne.
The feeling is mutual.
I've never actually shaken hands with myself before. This is a little weird.
Speaking of millionaires, did you get the money for the Riddler?
I've just made the arrangements.
Am I free to speak?
I trust Bruce Wayne as I trust you, Batman.
Good. I have a plan. I suggest no cops. Police, that is.
That was subtle, and Gordon doesn't appear to notice.
9 o'clock, have your men place the money inside the museum in the torch room of the monument. Then they must leave. $1 million is a lot of money, but the Riddler is smart and tricky. If he suspects a trap, he'll pass up the cash and destroy the monument.
Well, then how do we catch him?
You leave that to Robin and me. You'll have to deactivate the bomb wherever it is before he leaves. Then we'll jump into action.
Isn't Batman usually the one who defuses bombs and stuff like that? I wouldn't trust the Gotham police to defuse a trick birthday candle.
I know nothing whatsoever about this sort of thing, Commissioner. But as a layman, it makes sense to me.
He's got a good handle on the Riddler's plan now. That was clever. So who are you and what have you done with the real Batman / Bruce Wayne? Or are you actually Alfred, since he's the only one who could figure something like that out?
All right, then. That's the way it will be.
You're a smart man, Mr. Wayne. We should get together sometime and discuss crime prevention.
With pleasure. I look forward to seeing you in the near future.
If that fooled Gordon, he's even dumber than I give him credit for.
Did you give Commissioner Gordon the money?
Yes, I also met Batman.
Oh. You what?
Very interesting. The Batphone. Yes, Commissioner.
By any remote possibility, were you in my office this afternoon, Batman?
No, why?
I didn't think so.
Thank God for small favors. Gordon explains that he played along to protect Bruce Wayne. Batman says good, now do what he says and we'll map out a plan to catch the Riddler. Batman figures out the Riddler's last riddle, how is a woman in love like a welder? They both carry a torch. He puts it together and he and Robin head for the monument. Meanwhile, Riddler and company come in to collect the money.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. It's what you can do.
No, you don't. I have to deactivate the bomb first. Or do you want to be blown to smithereens? I'll just make it. The replica. It's gone. What squeals louder than a caught rat? Answer. Several caught rats.
You know, I'm glad this was the Riddler instead of the Joker. The Joker would have looked at that and said,
Egads, what sorcery is this?
I like Riddler's reaction much better.
I've been out-riddled. But the door! They foiled me with my own trick!
That's the only way we can smoke you out.
What?
And now he's hearing dead people's voices. Could his day get any worse?
Is this what you're looking for, Riddler?
Never ask that question. And you guys are going to pay for that picture.
Clever of you to place a time bomb inside it when you kidnapped King Boris.
Knowing he was going to present it here the following day.
Poor fellow was nothing but an innocent stooge. But you're dead, Batman.
Not quite.
We foiled your villainous death plot.
And besides that, we got away.
That bomb, it'll go off any second.
Don't worry. I deactivated it.
Now we're going to deactivate you.
He's been waiting 2 whole episodes to say that.
There are 4 of us against the 2 of you. But we're not afraid.
We're not afraid. I like that. They fight while Mousy watches, apparently indifferent to who wins. Because a crunch with a C just isn't cool enough for that scene. No words needed. A couple of police officers bring Mousy in.
I'll never understand why girls like you get involved in things like this.
Kicks, I guess. Been looking for them ever since I dropped out of high school. But I'm sort of glad they didn't do you in.
Thank you.
Now excuse me while I go loosen my tights. Back at Wayne Manor, Aunt Harriet is heading out to show Gotham to a friend from out of town. She's going to show them the Queen of Freedom Monument and invites Bruce to come along. He begs off because he has some foundation business. Or something. Or anything. He never wants to see that place again.
Perhaps Dick.
No! I've got my algebra.
Well, all right, but you're missing a treat. It's a very interesting place, you know.
I'm sure it is, Aunt Harriet. Probably more interesting than you can imagine.
The algebra.
Should have thought of a different excuse. Like maybe fishing. But it's too late now, you're stuck with the algebra. I cannot get enough of Frank Gorshin as the Riddler. If every episode was about him, I don't think it'd get old for me. These days, a ransom of $1 million doesn't seem like that much, but at the time it was pretty much the pinnacle. The way they foiled the Riddler was really creative. And as always, the fight sequences are just too much fun. Pretty much in keeping with the rest of the series so far, Mousy's nothing but eye candy. There again, you have to consider when this happened. The country was still reeling from President Kennedy's assassination, the Vietnam War was starting to escalate, and the country was trying to figure itself out after some major trauma. It was quite some time before we were able to pause, catch our breath, and say, wait a minute, there are some things wrong at home, like the way women are treated and portrayed. How the heck did this get so serious all of a sudden? This show is anything but a political statement. It's a nice escape from the ugly realities out there. It has a hero who quite literally can do no wrong, and it gives people hope while giving them a laugh. End of story.
Kicks, I guess. Been looking for them ever since I dropped out of high school.
And it gives kids a good reason to stay in school. If you don't, you'll end up eye candy on a very successful show. Or something like that. I'm Irving, and I'm an Adamaniac.
$1 million.